The film opens with Shuri, Letitia Wright, working enthusiastically in her lab, as 𝐤𝐤𝐴 is kicking the bucket from an obscure disease, and she is wanting to track down a fix. At the point when she finds a potentially useful answer, is met by Ramonda, Angela Bassett, who solemnly illuminates Shuri that her sibling has passed on. The realm of Wakanda holds a burial service parade for their dearest ruler. Each resident dresses in white, and a painting of T'Challa has been painted. Shuri and Ramonda bring T'Challa's coffin out until a boat shows up to convey him up. Shuri takes one final second to sob over her sibling's coffin while the realm does the Wakandan salute. After 1 year, Ramonda shows up at the assembled countries. The U.S. Secretary of State chides Wakanda for not satisfying their commitments of engaging in common undertakings. The French SOS likewise noticed that they accept the Wakandans are keeping vibranium for building weapons of mass obliteration. Ramonda hits back that they are as yet grieving T'Challa's misfortune and that they realize what might occur if vibranium fell under the control of untouchables. The night prior to, an effort office in Mali was penetrated by hired fighters attempting to gain vibranium, yet they were met by Dora Milaje heroes drove by Okoye, Denigurira, every one of whom continued to debilitate them quickly. The Dora Milaje then, at that point, bring the caught mercs before the UN where Okoye compels them to stoop. Before they leave, Ramonda cautions that any rehashed endeavors, for example, this will be met with a savage reaction. In the Atlantic Sea, a CIA group drove by Dr. 𝐤𝐤𝐴 works with a vibranium recognizing machine. Two jumpers go submerged and find that their mining drill has been destroyed, not long before the two are taken and killed by concealed assailants. Minutes after the fact, a clan of blue-cleaned individuals, Talakans, arise and continue to go after the boat, killing individuals installed. Dr. 𝐤𝐤𝐴 and her partner endeavor to escape in a helicopter, however the Talakan pioneer Namor, 𝐸𝐚𝐻𝐿, gets the helicopter and throws it into the sea. Ramonda and Okoye return to Wakanda, where Ramonda finds Shuri proceeding with her work on new innovation. While her mom proposes that she keep dealing with her engineered heart-formed spice to bring back the Dark Jaguar, Shuri rejects as she trusts the Dark Puma to be an artifact and simply attempted to reproduce the spice to save T'Challa. Ramonda then carries Shuri by the water to attempt to consume their stately clothes to end the grieving time frame and start to observe T'Challa's life. Shuri communicates outrage at the world for her sibling's passing. Minutes after the fact, they are met by Namor, who lets Ramonda and Shuri know that he was not content with T'Challa's choice to open Wakanda to the remainder of the world, since this left his realm open and defenseless against assailants since Talakans likewise have vibranium. Namor orders them to find and bring to him the researcher that made the vibranium recognizing machine, or he will go after Wakanda. He likewise tells them not to tell the others about his reality. Ramonda requests that Okoye go to track down the researcher, yet Shuri follows along notwithstanding her mom's complaints. She and Okoye travel to Virginia to track down Everett Ross, Martin Freeman, where they get some information about the researcher. Shockingly, Ross illuminates them that the researcher is a teen at MIT named Riri Williams, Dominique Thorne. Shuri goes to Riri's apartment and illuminates her that she wants to go with them, while likewise discovering that her vibranium identifying machine was simply a class project that the CIA obtained. Riri doesn't completely accept that the desperation until Okoye jumps out of her washroom and makes Riri go with them. Riri drives Shuri and Okoye to her carport where she chips away at her ventures. Before long, FBI specialists show up at the carport, compelling the women to get a move on escape. Riri gets her own iron shield suit that helps her fly, while Shuri and Okoye endeavor to drive away. A robot pursues them, however Riri takes off to the point of shooting it down before she runs out of oxygen. The robot then crashes north of a few cop vehicles, permitting Shuri and Okoye to continue onward. Tragically, they are halted when the Talakans corner them on an extension and toss a water bomb at them, making Shuri black out. Riri likewise crashes upon the scene, and the Talakans endeavor to catch her, yet Okoye takes part fighting with them, apparently killing 3 warriors prior to confronting the overall Atuma, Alex Livinelli. He almost kills her with her own lance until she stuns it, none of his concern, and the other 3 Talakans rise safe. At the point when 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐫𝐜 endeavors to keep battling, she is knocked off the extension. Shuri recovers awareness and advises the Talakans to take her with them, so they take her and Riri. Ross goes to the crime location on the scaffold the following day, where he is met by Contessa Valentina de Fontaine, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, as she is presently overseer of the CIA, and furthermore Ross acts. Ross finds Shuri's 𝐤𝐚𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐜 and furtively takes them with him. 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐫𝐜 gets back to Wakanda before the board to request that Ramonda lead a group submerged to track down Shuri. However, for her disappointment in guarding Shuri, Ramonda strips 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐫𝐜 of her position as Broad and of her situation as Dora Milaje. Ramonda goes to Shuri's lab and asks her artificial intelligence griot, Trevor Noah, to follow Shuri's globules. She reaches out to Ross, who subtly addresses her despite Val's good faith. He lets Ramonda know that the CIA accepts Wakanda is liable for the assault on the mining transport, yet Ramonda can't perceive him much about Namor's contribution. Ramonda goes to Haiti, where she tracks down 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐜 Nyong'o, working at a school since the blip. While she and Ramonda are glad to see one another, Ramonda notes 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐜 was missing from T'Challa's burial service. 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐜 advises her that she was unable to bear to consider it being an amazing finish, despite the fact that Ramonda advises her that for Wakandans, passing is never the end. She asks 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐜 for help in protecting Shuri. 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐜 goes to address a neighborhood town lady in the Yucatan promontory, as she has seen Namor and depicts his legend as 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐽𝐿, or the petted snake god. Down in Talokan, Shuri is given conventional attires to wear prior to meeting with Namor. He starts to tell her his origin story. In 1571, his mom, Maria Mercedes Coroy, was essential for a town that had been tormented by smallpox after the appearance of Spanish conquerors. Individuals went to the god Chak for salvation. They found a blue material submerged that they ingested to fix them of their diseases, yet while it eliminated their infections, it turned their skin blue and constrained them submerged since they could never again inhale air. Namor was conceived not quite the same as the others, with wings on his lower legs, and the capacity to inhale ashore and submerged. His mom passed on shattered because of missing her life on a superficial level, and when he went to cover her, he found the conquerors striking and oppressing the locals. Namor and the Talakans went after, with one cleric alluding to Namor as un niños in love, a youngster without adoration, and that is where he got his name, since he has no affection for the surface world. He takes Shuri further and shows her his realm, a prosperous and flourishing country similar to Wakanda, and he requests that Shuri assist with safeguarding their realms against the remainder of the world. 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐽𝐿 starts her main goal to recuperate Shuri and Riri. In the interim, Ramonda meets with Namor after she addresses Ross, who illuminated her that the CIA is trying to make a move against Wakanda for the mining transport assault. At the point when she advises Namor to acknowledge liability regarding it, he cautions Ramonda about making a retaliatory move against the Wakandans on the off chance that they compromise Talokan's openness. 𝐒𝐞𝐽𝐿 advances submerged and kills Namor's cousin Namora, Mabel Cadena, before she can go after Shuri. Another Talokan fighter gets Shuri, however 𝐒𝐞𝐽𝐿 hits her with a deadly sonic impact. She escapes with Shuri and Riri, however Namor finds the fighter as she passes on, accepting it as an assault on Wakanda's part, so he drives his champions to strike back. In the city, 𝐒𝐞𝐽𝐿 reunites with 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐽𝐿, however they before long see the region flooding before they understand they are enduring an onslaught. The Talakans start to water bomb the city, flooding the spots and obliterating structures. Baku, Winston Duke, drives his Jabari champions fighting while Shuri endeavors to retaliate with her tech. Namor comes to the royal residence and water bombs it intensely, making Ramonda and Riri sink. Namor orders Shuri to go along with them in the assault against the surface world, or Wakanda will be totally annihilated. Ramonda figures out how to pull Riri to the surface, yet they are both oblivious. The Dora Milaje figure out how to resuscitate Riri, yet Ramonda is gone. A burial service is held for Ramonda. Baku endeavors to reassure Shuri and offer insight, as T'Challa mentioned of him, yet she is grieving the deficiency of her entire family. In the meantime, Val has Ross captured subsequent to learning he was conversing with Ramonda stealthily. While the remainder of Wakanda gears up for Namor's return, Shuri completes work on her 12 p.m. Holy Messenger suits for Okoye and another Dora Milaje champion, 𝐒𝐞𝐚𝐫𝐜, while Riri deals with her own iron suit. Shuri finds that the armband that Namor gave her contains a material that the Talokans use to live submerged, which she blends in with T'Challa's DNA to make a manufactured heart-molded spice effectively. With Nakia and Okoye, Shuri ingests the spice and goes into the familial plane, wanting to see Ramonda to give her direction. All things considered, she is met by an undesirable presence, Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan. He makes sense of that she sees him since she is being driven by her longing for vengeance against Namor for her mom's passing and her resentment regarding her siblings' demise, expressing that she is very much like him. Killmonger additionally says T'Challa was excessively respectable and would have likewise decided to save Namor as he did Zemo after his dad was killed. At the point when Shuri awakens, she can't let Nakia know that she saw Killmonger and feels that her mom and sibling deserted her. In any case, she realizes it is presently dependent upon her to lead the realm in fight, so she goes to track down her own head protector. As the clans are discussing their best course of action, a boat soars over, and Shuri slips without precedent for her new Dark Jaguar outfit. M'Baku gladly pronounces that the Dark Jaguar lives. Shuri then, at that point, gives everybody a discourse about what they need to do straight away. Shuri and Riri think of an arrangement for drawing Namor toward a dry region to debilitate him so he might be crushed. The Wakandans board a boat to get ready for the fight to come, and they convey a sign from another vibranium identifying machine to draw the Talokans to them. They take part in their standoff, with the Talokans endeavoring to board the boat while Dora Milaje and Jabari heroes retaliate. Riri arises in her new Ironheart protection suit while Okoye and Aneka fly in with their 12 p.m. Heavenly Messenger suits. Namor gets sufficiently high for Riri to hit him with an impact, and Shuri gets him in her boat to start vanishing the water on his skin. Riri is gone after by Namora while Okoye has a rematch with Attuma. Riri shoots Namora into the sea while Okoye thumps Attuma off the boat. Namor endeavors to break the boat with his lance, yet Shuri battles him with her suit. Shuri attempts to have the boat fly toward the desert, yet Namor prevails with regards to separating it and annihilating it, making them crash. Shuri and Namor proceed with their battle, with Namor actually having sufficient solidarity to beat Shuri and pierce her. Thinking on Killmonger's words, Shuri can free and mend herself prior to returning to battling Namor. She utilizes the exhaust from her boat to fire sufficient intensity toward Namor to debilitate him harshly. She snatches his lance and plans to bargain a killing blow until she sees a dream of Ramonda addressing her, advising her to show him who she truly is. Shuri orders Namor to yield so that neither of their kin needs to experience the ill effects of their interests for vengeance, and Namor concurs. He yields and is returned to the Talokans to cancel their battle and get back. In the result, Shuri sends Riri home back to Boston yet tells her she needs to leave her suit there for dread that the US will continue squabbles with Wakanda. She gives Riri the vehicle that had a place with her dad, presently repaired. Back in Talokan, Namor addresses Namora and tells her it was important to align themselves with Wakanda since they have no different partners to safeguard them, and this will help their own out. In the meantime, Okoye goes to break out Ross from bondage. Shuri goes to Haiti to meet with Nakia by an ocean side, as she says there is one thing she really wants to do. She sits by an open-air fire and consumes her stately clothes, as she plunks down to think back about T'Challa lastly lament for his demise. During the credits, Nakia brings a kid, 𝐸𝐴𝐚𝐬𝐡, Divine Love Kanasu's son, who is her and T'Challa's child, and consequently Shuri's nephew. Nakia affirms that Ramonda met him before her demise, and that he has been living calmly there. 𝐸𝐴𝐚𝐬𝐡 lets Shuri know that his Wakanda name is T'Challa. Shuri sits and grins, realizing her sibling's inheritance lives on. The last thing we see is a commitment to Chadwick Boseman. The realm of Wakanda grieves the deficiency of T'Challa. Convoluting matters is the presence of the Talokans, a submerged realm drove by Namor, the padded snake god. He meets Sovereign Ramonda and Shuri to let them know that T'Challa's demonstration of presenting Wakanda to the rest of the world prompted the Untouchables endeavoring to take vibranium forcibly, and since Talokan likewise has vibranium, Namor accepts that their realm would become powerless against assault. He arranges the Wakandans to find the researcher liable for making a vibranium distinguishing machine that the CIA has utilized. Shuri and Okoye observe that the researcher is an undergrad named Riri Williams. While they attempt to keep her protected, the Talokans assault and take both Shuri and Riri to their realm. Ramonda finds Nakia for help in saving Shuri. Namor enlightens Shuri concerning his kin's origin story and how his contempt for the surface world stems from watching conquerors strike and oppress the residents where his mom came from, as it was their sickness and brutality that constrained the Talokans to look for help that at last drove them submerged with improved capacities. At the point when Nakia salvages Shuri, she winds up killing a Talokan fighter, which Namor takes as an indication of assault. He drives an assault against Wakanda by flooding the city, causing Ramonda's demise when she saves Riri from suffocating. Shuri figures out how to make an engineered heart-molded spice from material given to her by Namor, alongside T'Challa's DNA. This permits her to take the spice and a major trend arc Jaguar. She accumulates the clans in Wakanda and plans with Riri to attract Namor to them so they might dry him out and debilitate him. The Wakandans and Talokans take part in fight, with Riri using her new iron suit, and Okoye utilizes a 12 PM Heavenly Messenger suit created by Shuri. Shuri traps Namor and battles him, with him almost winning until she figures out how to consume and debilitate him. In spite of the fact that she contemplates killing him, she eventually settles on some kind of peace agreement so that neither of their kin languish in their journeys over retribution. Namor concurs and cancels the battle, later telling his cousin Namora that it was important since Wakanda has no different partners and this will help them out later on. Shuri sends Riri back home prior to going to Haiti where she can appropriately grieve T'Challa. There, Nakia acquaints Shuri with her and T'Challa's child.